and welcome. Thank you for joining me today for Conversation Starters, a conversation of change. I'm Jo, Director and Founder of Twiga Group. We work with organisations to deliver business strategy through culture, through people, and through change leadership. And we use human-centred design techniques as our way of reimagining and strengthening organisational culture. I'd like you to think about your own experience of work, whether you're a board member, an organisational leader, an expert team member, or a volunteer, and think about the fundamental shift that's happening at the moment in how and where work happens. And if we think about work as no longer being a place, and our workplace is where our people and teams come to connect and to collaborate, we need to also think about how we create and nurture and strengthen connected, high-trust, high-performing teams. And as you all know, this doesn't just happen by magic. It requires deliberate and considered leadership action. And that starts with a conversation, which might sound easy enough, but we know that regardless of our role in an organisation, many of us would prefer to avoid the conversation that might be difficult or uncomfortable. And we also know that we're often unsure of how to respond when feedback is provided to us. So today, I'm going to share an approach we call Conversation Starters to help you provide meaningful feedback to your people. We'll start with what matters most, we'll explore conversation starters, and we'll work on how to generously receive feedback. And as we do this, keep in mind that any feedback conversation is a shared responsibility. It's not one way, and it should be collaborative. And we must approach feedback conversations with the view that the person initiating the conversation is coming from a place of best intent. That is, I have your best interest at the heart of our conversation. So let's get started. When you think about a feedback conversation, how would you approach this? How have you approached this in the past? Preparation is key, of course. And so we like to start with defining the guiding principles that apply to all feedback conversations. This is important because it helps us to define what matters most to us, so we can focus our conversations on those things that we value. Here are some examples to get you thinking about the guiding principles that you might apply in your organisation when it comes to feedback conversations. From here, you can use the GROW model to help frame the conversations and apply your guiding principles and take a positive and encouraging approach to the conversation. Some of you might be familiar with the GROW model, and for some of you it could be a new model that you might consider using. We start with the goal. We start with positive intent, constructive purpose, objectivity and respect. We might ask questions like, let's take a look at your goals and see how it's tracking. Tell me more about this goal. I have some thoughts about. Then we move into defining the reality. This is where we have a conversation with curiosity, with clarification, shared awareness and common ground. And we use facts without judgment. In looking at your project objectives, I noticed that. What are your thoughts about? What surprised you? And then we move into talking collaboratively about the options. What are the insights we've gained from the conversation so far? How do we define the objective actions? How do we plan? And how do we develop solutions? And we might ask questions like, how might we? What is working for you? What are the opportunities we see? And then we wrap up and we have shared agreement, defined actions, and commitment for change. This is where we ask, what can we do to progress this? How can I help? When can we talk again? And these become very useful conversation starters for giving feedback and also for receiving feedback. So we've spent a bit of time preparing to give feedback, and now we need to spend some time preparing to receive that feedback. And when we receive feedback, we should approach this with a listening is the new talking mindset, very consciously listening to hear as opposed to listening to respond. With this in mind, we can be curious and open to the conversation. I'd like you to think back to the last conversation you were a part of where someone was providing feedback to you, and reflect on this as we walk through some key considerations. Let's have a think about the reasons for the conversation. Is it to improve my performance, to build my capability, or to develop leadership skills? Let's focus on the content, not the person. about what you can both gain from the conversation. Tuning in fully is very important. Listening to hear encourages engagement, connection, and collaboration. Ask questions, be curious. Think about the conversation starters we've just looked at in the GROW model, and think about how those questions can apply when you're receiving feedback. Always acknowledge the other person's point of view and listen for common goals and objectives. Engage in mutual problem solving and focus on future actions and change. Avoid being defensive and over-explaining, and always take time to think about your responses so that you are clear in your conversation. And start with one thing. What's the one thing I could do differently that would make an impact here? And like I said, you can easily use the conversation starters we explored earlier to help frame your thinking here. Remember that every conversation is a shared responsibility, and providing meaningful feedback to your people is the highest level of respect and leadership that you can demonstrate. The culture of an organisation can thrive on the quality of our feedback conversations. It's taking insight and creating change,